Now we continue with part 2 of chapter 9. Remember, in part 1, I mentioned that English adjectives have three functions: attributive, substantive, and predicate. And the same thing holds true of the Greek adjectives. So, in the Greek adjectives, we have attributive adjectives, section 9.8 in your book. When an adjective is used in the attributive position, it agrees with the word it modifies. This is important. It agrees with the word it modifies in case, number, and gender. In the attributive position, the adjective is modifying a noun or a head noun. In that case, it agrees with that noun it is modifying in case, number, and gender. In the sentence, Ho agathos logos. And agathos is the adjective, logos is the noun it is modifying. And notice that both have the nominative singular ending because they are both in the nominative singular. This is the case in all genders. They will always agree with the word they are modifying in case, number, and gender. This will come up later. First attributive position means when the adjective comes before the word it is modifying. It comes before the word it is modifying. The second attributive position means the adjective comes after the word it is modifying. Keep that in mind. Now let's look at the second use of the adjective. Continuing the three functions of the adjective. Substantival adjectives, substantive or substantival adjective. Here is a case where an adjective functions as a noun. It functions as a noun. How do you know? The adjective, the case of the adjective is determined by its function in the sentence. Number and gender are both determined by what the adjective stands for. That means in this case, the adjective is not modifying any noun. So you look at the case of the adjective, nominative, genitive, dative, or accusative to determine its function in the sentence. The number and gender then is determined by what that adjective is standing for. Just something to remember. The most common use common sense in translating adjectives. That is just the rule. Use common sense. So you ask three questions. What is the case of the adjective? Then you determine the function it has in the sentence. What is the gender and the number of the adjective? Then you determine that it's representing singular or plural. Then translate the adjective. Translate the adjective at that point. So we've already talked about that, so let me go on. This should be the third use of the adjective. My mistake here. This should be the third use of the adjective. The third use is predicate adjective. Here it functions as a predicate. The adjective here functions as a predicate. In this case, it does not modify another word. Okay, there's no word that it is modifying, just like the substantive. Rather, it asserts or predicates something about the subject in that sentence. So it goes with a subject in the sentence, but it doesn't modify another noun, but it predicates something about the subject. And often, you know an adjective is predicate when the form of Amy is either express or implied. You don't have to have Amy to know that it is a predicate adjective. In this sentence, ho anthropos agathos. This is the adjective which comes after. This is the subject of the sentence. Ho anthropos agathos. Literally, the man good. But here, you have the man, you will have to include the man is good. The man is good. That is the predicate use of the adjective in Greek. Again, And this is where the first position and the second position adjective use is clear here. Here the man is good. The Amy is not there. Here you have agathos, ho anthropos. This can also be the man is good. Okay? The man is good. This is in the first predicate position. This is in the second predicate position. The reason you know it is predicate is because the adjective does not have an article. In either case, it does not have an article. Now, so when you come to recognizing the adjectives, you look at the article to know how that adjective is functioning. So you can decide which function an article is performing in a sentence, or which function an adjective, really, it should be which function an adjective is performing in the sentence. This should be adjective. Which function the adjective is performing in the sentence. How you know depends on the use of the article. Here's the big word, anathros. Anathros. The article is not present. This is an adjective without an article. Articular, guess what? It means the article is present. The adjective takes an article. That is how you recognize how the adjective is functioning in a sentence. In section 9.12 in your book, you will see that adverbial adjectives are anathros. Those are predicate adjectives. They don't have an article. Articular adjectives, adjectives with articles, are attributive or substantival. And if a noun is articular and an adjective is anathros, that is, the word it is modifying has an article and the adjective does not have an article, this adjective is in the predicate position. Predicate position. For example, what if an article is not present? Agathos anthropos. Agathos anthropos. No article here. So it will be the man is good. This is a predicate position. The same here, anthropos agathos, second position, the man is good because the adjective has no article, so it is predicate. Then, it's the same thing here. You see, agathos, anthropos, no article, anthropos, agathos, no article. But here is a chart to help you understand how to translate the adjective. Okay, if there is, ask the question, is there an article with the adjective? If the answer is yes, then there are two options. There is another question. Okay, if the adjective has an article, your next question is, does it modify another word? If the answer is yes, then it is attributive. If the answer is no, then it is substantival. So, is there an article? Yes. Does it modify another word? Yes, it is attributive. No, it is substantival. Back to question number one. Is there an article? No, then it is adverbial. That is the predicate position of the article. In your book, you see something called odds and ends. Okay, this is kind of technical, but you will learn it as time goes on. You will have an article, noun, and then article, and then a modifier like a prepositional phrase. Basically, it is saying the article here goes, this is an article that goes with a noun. The children, if you notice this, paidas is masculine because the article is tous, even though paidas looks feminine. The children who, the article here means who, are in Bethlehem. Substantival, okay, they spoke the word of the Lord to all who, okay, who, insert a verb to be, were in the house. Another odds and ends. You should read this in your book, section 9.6, and you should read the neuter plural subjects in section 9.710. That will come up again. So in translating, keep adjectives with the nouns they modify as you divide the sentence. Like here, who, agathos, anthropos. That is the good man, he is writing the book. Divide them, keep adjectives with the words that they are modifying. Just in summary, read the summary section in your book very carefully, and then notice the prepositional phrases as modifiers. Read the section in your book that talks about that. Just keep in mind, the fog is rising, as Mounts explains in his book. You may look like the clouds are now bearing you. You cannot understand what is going on. Be strong, be patient. Things will become more and more clear. Part 3 will be on vocabulary. So thank you.